My husband kept leaving the house every night at exactly 11:47 p.m. The night I followed him, I ended up watching the police arrest my own father. The first night, I ignored it. Everyone has trouble sleeping sometimes. At exactly 11:47 p.m., my husband quietly got out of bed, got dressed, and left the house. He returned an hour later. When I asked where he'd been, he smiled. I couldn't sleep. The second night, the same thing. 11:47 p.m. The third night, again, always the same time. Always gone for about an hour, always refusing to explain. After 3 weeks, I convinced myself he was having an affair. I hated myself for thinking it. But what else was I supposed to believe? One Friday night, I pretended to be asleep. At 11:47 p.m., he quietly left. This time, I followed. He drove across town, past the city limits, then into an old industrial district filled with abandoned warehouses. I parked 2 streets away and watched him disappear inside Warehouse 14. 10 minutes later, another car arrived. Then another. Then a police van with its lights off. I froze. Before I could understand what was happening, armed officers surrounded the building. Someone shouted, "Move, move, move!" The doors exploded open. People ran in every direction, within seconds. The police dragged several men outside in handcuffs. Then, they brought out one more man. My father. I couldn't breathe. Dad. He looked directly at me. For one terrifying second, our eyes met. Then he looked away. My husband walked out behind the officers. He wasn't handcuffed. One detective shook his hand. I stepped out from behind my car. "What is happening?" My husband went completely pale. "You shouldn't be here. Why are the police thanking you?" He closed his eyes. "I was working with them." "What?" "For 8 months." He explained that he'd secretly become a confidential financial informant. Someone inside his company had discovered millions of rupees disappearing through fake invoices. Every trail eventually led back to one person. My father. My dad wasn't just stealing. He'd been running a nationwide money laundering operation through legitimate businesses for almost 10 years. "I didn't believe it either," my husband said. "I spent months trying to prove the evidence was wrong. But it wasn't." Tears streamed down my face. "You knew it was my father," he nodded. "I couldn't tell you. If I had, the entire investigation would have collapsed." I wanted to scream. Instead, I just stood there watching my father being placed into a police vehicle. He never once looked back. The following morning, every news channel carried the story. The headlines called him the mastermind behind one of the largest financial frauds in the state. My phone never stopped ringing. Journalists, relatives, friends, everyone wanted answers. Only one question mattered to me. When did Dad become this person? Weeks later, I visited him in prison. I expected denial. Excuses. Instead, he smiled. "You married a smart man." I stared at him. "You ruined hundreds of lives." He shrugged. "Business." "No, crime." He leaned forward. "I would have gotten away with it if he hadn't loved you." "What does that mean?" "He started investigating because he wanted to surprise you. For our anniversary. He thought recovering the missing money would earn him a promotion. Instead, he uncovered everything, including my father." Dad laughed quietly. "He chose the law over family." I stood up. "No, he chose the truth." As I walked away, he called after me, "You'll never forgive him." I turned around one last time. "No, I'll never forgive you." 3 years have passed. My husband still wakes up some nights at 11:47 p.m. Old habits die hard. Sometimes I wake up too. We sit together in silence. Neither of us says much. Because some betrayals don't end when the handcuffs close. They echo through every family dinner that never happens again. Every birthday with an empty chair. Every memory that suddenly feels like a lie. But if I've learned anything, it's this. Sometimes the hardest person to expose is the one you spent your whole life believing could never be guilty. If you discovered undeniable proof that someone you loved had committed terrible crimes, would you protect your family? Or protect the truth?